are you, man? We'll get late.
Just taking the turn, you're gonna see me in a second.
Oh, there you are.
Yes, there I am.
You have to hurry up, man. You're pretty late, man.
I'm sorry.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, I cannot wait to visit Longewala, man.
Neither can I.
Let's go.
It's been a lifelong dream to go there.
Yep. You take that left for the airport, yeah?
Yeah, so haven't been completely honest with you. I have made a few changes to our plans. I've called the office ahead and told them to cancel our tickets to Jaisalmer.
Well, what is your plan then?
My thought was, why don't we take a road trip there? I mean, imagine the beautiful monuments, the well-built roads that we'll go through.
Well, I do not share the same enthusiasm as you, but if it is one state that I do not mind driving through, it is Rajasthan.
Well, I feel the same way. So why don't we get on the highway and belt it there?
Well, first stop's Jaipur.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go.
After navigating through the traffic of Delhi NCR, we crossed Gurugram and got onto the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway that would take us to Dausa and onwards towards Jaipur. But before we started clocking up kilometers, we filled up the Grand Vitara's fuel tank, which was going to last us a long way on this journey.
Man, I'm so glad that we now have an alternate route to get to Jaipur, which is part of the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway. This perfect world-class expressway is just brilliant to drive on, and you actually need a nice car for it. And I think the Grand Vitara is one of those nice cars, isn't it?
It is. It rides so smoothly on these highways. But, you know, what I find most fascinating is, can you tell me or can you guess the official claim fuel efficiency figure of this car?
Well, I would place my bet on somewhere around 23, 24.
It's 27.97 kmph.
What are you saying?
Yep.
Yeah?
And you couple that with a 45-litre fuel tank. I mean, you do the math.
It's more than 1,000. It's more than 1,200?
Exactly. And that is why the promise of taking you to Jaisalmer in this one fuel tank. Just imagine the possibilities.
We are going to reach Jaisalmer in the fuel tank that we have just filled up.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Cool.
It didn't take long to reach Jaipur, and we made our first stop at its most prime location, the Amer Fort. That, along with Jaigarh Fort, stand tall overlooking the city. With our Grand Vitara, this sight looked even more breathtaking as we drove alongside the ramparts, which are centuries old. Next, we stopped at Jal Mahal, another landmark of Jaipur, which sits in the middle of the Mansagar Lake and is a symbol of India's rich cultural and architectural heritage. Before we left Jaipur, we just had to take a drive around Rajasthan's oldest museum, the Albert Hall Museum, before we embarked onwards towards Jodhpur. While the roads from Jaipur to Jodhpur weren't comparable to the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, they're still very good roads, and this meant that we made good time on the 330-kilometer journey. We were still a few hours away from Jodhpur as darkness fell, but we felt pretty comfortable driving in the dark with the Grand Vitara's LED headlamps lighting up the roads ahead of us.
Early next morning, we head to the Mehrangarh Fort as we wanted to beat the tourist traffic to this attraction that no one can miss if they're in Jodhpur. At almost 5 centuries old, Mehrangarh rises up like a mountain with endless ramparts that rise up to 400 feet high and encompass an area 1,200 acres inside the fort complex. There are a number of beautiful palaces inside the fort, such as the Moti Mahal and Phool Mahal, which have intricately carved out walls and ceiling. As we walked through the vast Mehrangarh premises, we could feel the history and beauty of the place, which is an incredible architectural feat and a colossal symbol of Rajasthan's rich heritage and culture.
What a magnificent structure, man. The Mehrangarh Fort, the size, the grandeur. I mean, today couldn't have started at a better note. they made it centuries ago, and the size.
It's held up so well. Even when we were coming up the road,
Yeah.
the vast size of it
I mean, it's like a monument which defines the city. Like it's
absolutely,
just
absolutely.
it juts out into the sky. Look at how
When
tall
you
it
think
is.
Jodhpur, you think Mehrangarh Fort.
You're absolutely right.
And with this backdrop, I think the Grand Vitara sort of beautiful design and sort of grandeur fits in well with that beautiful centuries-old monument.
You know, a lot of cars, technology, when they're modern, they don't blend well when mixed with ancient structures and monuments.
Correct.
But I feel, don't you think the Grand Vitara fits really, really well?
Fits absolutely perfectly. I can take you to a few other places where the Grand Vitara fits in really well here in Jodhpur. So, should we head?
Of course.
Let's go.
Still in awe of the Mehrangarh Fort, we drove across Jodhpur to another landmark, the Umayyad Bhawan Palace, which is, for the lack of a better word, simply the most magnificent private residence that one can ever lay their eyes upon. As we had to reach Jaisalmer by evening, we quickly navigated through the traffic while making a short stop at the clock tower in the Sardar market before leaving Jodhpur behind. From Jodhpur, we drove to Jaisalmer, where the most important destinations of our journey lay. But in this part of Rajasthan, the roads do get a bit narrow and cumbersome, so the going does get a bit slow.
Man, what an interesting car to drive this is.
It is, and you know, that is thanks to the fact that the Grand Vitara is a strong hybrid. So you have dual power and get advantages of an ICE engine combined with an EV.
So that is what it is. I mean, when I'm trying to overtake, the engine comes on and it gives me that boost of power. And I find that very, very interesting, huh?
It is.
And you know, I especially like the HUD. I mean, it's such a neatly integrated feature. It gives me a lot of data. It's right in my field of view. So there's nothing to look down, and like just makes the job easier driving on roads. Yes.
I also quite like the sci-fi way it sort of pops up right in front of you.
Exactly.
Gives you that neat extra, you know,
What a
panache
cool
to
car
it.
the Grand Vitara is, isn't it?
It is. Morning, Anand. I hope you slept well.
I did sleep well, although I did not need the rest because, well, the GV is such a capable grand tourer. I mean, the front seats, they are so good.
Yeah,
I barely felt tired, and I mean, we have traveled so many kilometers from Delhi, and we were in supreme comfort, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though our journey yesterday wasn't that long, I mean, it felt like a cinch. So, but I'm more excited about our location today. We've been talking about it since we left Delhi,
You are right.
and I can't wait to get there. I mean, what about you? I hope you're just as
That is
excited.
the reason that you got me on this trip, you know that, right?
I have. So, give me the keys then now.
No.
You drove all day yesterday.
So what? I want to drive to Longewala, and I want to drive the Grand Vitara to Longewala.
Fine, I'm driving back too.
Alright, we'll see about that.
Oh, come on.
You know, bro, we are going deeper into the desert, heading towards Longewala. And you know, the temperatures are rising, but most interestingly, the range is also rising.
Right.
And that is so amazing.
See, like I've mentioned to you all this while, it does come with an intelligent hybrid system. And one of the most interesting aspects of that is that you get regenerative braking. What that basically does is it uses all the wasted energy from the braking and puts it back into the battery, giving you a little more juice, giving you a little more range.
Oh, is that what it does when I lift off the throttle or when I'm braking, when the charge indicator goes full?
Exactly. So if you slot it into B mode, you get that little more sort of regenerative braking on the go.
Well, that is technology at its finest from Maruti Suzuki, I believe.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the other parts that make me so glad that we have the Grand Vitara with us in the desert is...
Why is that? Like, what's the reason for that?
Well, it comes with ventilated seats, both for you and for me.
Right.
Because even though there are winters
Right.
in places all across the country,
Absolutely.
we are in the desert and it is still pretty hot. And I'm so glad that we have ourselves comfortable and cool.
I think most people don't realize how important ventilated seats can be. I mean,
Exactly.
we are going through winters right now, but in the summers, it is a big boon to have. But I'm sort of more excited to get to Longewala, so why don't we sort of hit on the gas and get going? The roads are
Definitely.
good enough for it.
Let's go.
While it took around 19 minutes from Jaisalmer to Longewala, we enjoyed every single moment of this drive. The scenery is just stunning and the roads courtesy of the BRO are world class and a treat to drive on, especially with a car like the Grand Vitara. Some may argue that the mountains present the best driving roads in India, but we would like to ask them to visit this area of Rajasthan. We finally reached our destination, the Longewala battleground. The Battle of Longewala was one of the first major engagements between India and Pakistan during the 1971 war. The Indian border post of Longewala was defended by a company of just 120 soldiers against almost 3,000 Pakistani soldiers and 3 dozen tanks. Led by Major Kuldeep Singh Chandpuri, the Punjab Regiment Company defended Longewala through the night against the enemy, defending it until the Indian Air Force could provide reinforcements and drive the Pakistani assault back. Today, the battleground is a site maintained by the Indian Army with remnants from the battle, including tanks, weapons, and other objects. As we walked through the trenches, we could feel the pride and the honor of our brave soldiers' bravery during the battle, and it filled us with solemn respect for our men and women who serve our nation. After a serene yet enlightening visit to Longewala, we were all prepared to head back, but we had yet another place to visit, the border. Situated about 40 kilometers from Longewala, the Indo-Pak border in Bavlia is a must-visit for all visitors to Jaisalmer, even if it may not be as popular as the Wagah border.
Bro, those roads were absolutely fantastic.
You are right.
I mean, beautiful, all thanks to Border Roads organization that we all know and love.
Well, you are absolutely right. And we are here at the Indo-Pak border in Bavlia, which is a few 50 kilometers out from Longewala, which I thought was going to be the highlight of the day.
Honestly,
but
I did
this
too.
is just the cherry on the top.
Absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. And the Pakistan is just a few hundred meters
just
that
that
way.
fence.
We can see that.
Just that fence and across that is
Exactly.
Pakistan. So we're right at the edge of the road. And you know what? We've still got some fuel in the tank. I mean, we filled up.
I am
last in
honestly
Delhi.
just so surprised. I know you promised me that we are going to see a lot of places in just a single tank. But, well, I never imagined that we would reach here. We filled up in Delhi and we are here.
Right.
It's just amazing. It is honestly unbelievable.
And so I think we should do a little more exploring. And I like the look of those sand dunes. What do you think?
Well, you know what? There are those world famous some sand dunes right next to Jaisalmer.
Right.
Why don't we check that out?
Cool, but 50-50 diving?
I get driving first, yeah?
By the time we reached Jaisalmer, it was already evening, so we decided to visit the famed sand dunes the next day. There couldn't have been a better decision. The vast horizon with just sand dunes in every direction is a true sight to behold. And this is where the term desert truly starts defining itself. After spending some time driving around the sand dunes, we set off towards Bikaner. But we had one last thing to see in Jaisalmer, the Jaisalmer Fort, which uniquely has a population that still lives inside and is a mini town with markets and lodgings.
Man, what an incredible day it has been. We visited the some sand dunes and we went to the Jaisalmer Fort. Just an amazing day.
It has been. And don't forget, this is the same fuel tank that we filled up in Delhi. It's still going on. We've done over 1200 kilometers and well, it's still going.
It's still hard to believe that, but well, facts are facts, right?
But you know, if I'm honest, it has dipped into the reserve tank now. I think it's just about time we pulled into a fuel station. And
Well, I see one coming up right there.
oh yeah, where is it?
Purchase your tracks today.
Finally, that one full fuel tank from Delhi is over.
And man, I did not believe you when you told me that we were out exploring Rajasthan in one single fuel tank, doing well over 1200 kilometers.
That's right, we're just outside of Jaisalmer. We're headed towards Bikaner, and I think there are a few interesting places in between too.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go, right?
Let's head it.
We reached Bikaner and settled in one of the numerous heritage hotels, which is another great part of visiting Rajasthan.
So Anag, it's our final day. We have to head back home now. But Rajasthan has been marvelous, hasn't it?
You're absolutely right, Abhinav. I mean, the state, the place is just so incredible. It's got culture, it's got architecture, it's got history.
Right.
And I'm so glad that we did it with the Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara.
So am I. I mean, it looks incredible in this Nexa blue color. Fits really well with that hotel as well. I think, why don't we go and check out Bikaner before we head out? What do you think?
You're absolutely right.
Let's go.
Junagadh Fort.
After a quick visit to the Junagadh Fort that presents its own set of unique architecture, we got on the road for our trip back to Delhi. And again, the Grand Vitara started impressing us even more with its highway capabilities, especially its fuel efficiency, which only kept going as we cruised, and this meant that we were going to reach Delhi with fuel to spare. So, we decided to drive through another interesting place called Fatehpur. Fatehpur is lined with Shekhawati Havelis, each with their own unique style and coloring, and it genuinely feels like one has been transported to a time centuries ago.
Man, what an interesting place Fatehpur was, wasn't it? All those beautiful Shekhawati Havelis in the narrow lanes. I could notice that you were quite nervous driving through them, weren't you?
I was, but thanks to the 360-degree camera that the Grand Vitara gets, it made life a little easier.
Well, that is nice. Well, you know the most interesting part there? I could notice that the Grand Vitara wasn't actually making any sound. Was it running on electric power?
Yes, you can switch to electric only mode by simply pressing the EV mode button here.
Oh.
And voila, there it is.
What a car it is.
Anag, what an epic journey we've been on. I mean, we've explored the great state of Rajasthan. We've been through Jaipur, we've gone to Jodhpur, we saw the Mehrangarh Fort, and after that we headed to Jaisalmer.
You're absolutely right. And we also went to Longewala, the Indo-Pak border. We explored Jaisalmer and we also went to Bikaner. And now we are on the home stretch back to Delhi. We also explored Fatehpur en route.
Yeah, we did.
And the best part has been the interesting part about the Grand Vitara that you spoke to me earlier. Its efficiency. Filled up once after Jaisalmer and we are still on that fuel tank.
Absolutely.
That is just incredible.
And one thing we must never forget is that Maruti Suzuki has always stood for superior engineering and technology. And I think the Grand Vitara Strong Hybrid joins a long list of amazing cars that they've brought to a country that they've undoubtedly put on four wheels.
You are absolutely right, and I feel that this car is it. The Grand Vitara Strong Hybrid is going to be my next choice for any of the long distance trips that we do now.
Yep, and I think we've done a long journey. I think it's time to take a little bit of rest once we get home. So let's belt it for the last home stretch. What do you think?
Yep, definitely.